What's happening, my fellow geeks and geekettes? Welcome to a brand new episode of Cosplay Chris, and today we are doing a spoiler-filled discussion on Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. Now, yesterday I went and had my second screening of Batman v Superman with my buddy in the city. My opinions have not changed on the movie. I still stand by my 5 geeks out of 5, despite what other people have been saying. I had an amazing time with this film. Again, if not, I loved it more. And I didn't just want to see it the second time around because I loved it the first time. I wanted to pick up new things that I had missed the first time. So I've written down some things that I want to talk about. Obviously, I'm not going to talk about all spoilers, just the ones that matter most to me. Now, the first one, and probably the most controversial one that everyone's talking about, is the fact that Batman causes casualties in this movie and his brutality against bad guys. The introduction to Ben Affleck's Batman in this film was something out of a horror movie, and Ben Affleck said that exactly. I completely forgot about that quote. I read that quote before I saw the film, and then when that amazing shot of the cop with the shotgun when he finds the guy with the brand, and the camera just pans up in the corner and there's Batfleck like a creature just in the corner hiding from the cop. And it just happened so quickly. He's like flinging around the ceiling and then grapples up through the ceiling. I was like, holy shit. And the music as well just left me really uneasy, and it was like he was a vampire in the corner. That is the way I see Batman. That's the way I've always wanted to see Batman on screen. In terms of him causing human casualties in this film, I had no problem with that whatsoever, because I've always wanted to see a brutal Batman that could kill. And I know it's the Batman law that he doesn't kill, but you know what? Sometimes things change, and well, that's just how it is. But honestly, I had no problem with it. The warehouse fight just left me in awe the second time around, if not more than the first time. What you see in the trailer is absolutely nothing compared to what happens with that full fight. I mean, like, a dude stabs Batman in the shoulder, he pulls the blade out, pins the guy against the wall, and stabs him. Another guy comes right up behind him when he's fighting other guys, shoots him point blank twice in the head. Obviously, because he's got the tech cowl in there, it's bulletproof, but like, that would fucking hurt, like 2 punches in the back of the head. So yeah, in terms of the whole Batman killing thing, I didn't mind it. I really liked it with this incarnation that Ben Affleck has given us, and I still stand by the fact that he's my most favorite Batman to date. Now, I loved him as Bruce Wayne, I loved him as Batman, I love the way he portrayed himself as Batman and against bad guys. You gotta realize Bruce Wayne is older, he's angrier, and he's just bitter against the world. So that gives him a reason to do what he does to bad guys in this film. The fever, the rage. Now, as for Alfred, I love the relationship they have. They just seemed like mates. And to be honest, I didn't see Alfred do any butling in this film whatsoever. Like, he brings him some tea, I think, at the beginning. That's it. Mates do that. You go get your mate a tea and bring it to him. I would have liked to have seen more of Alfred throughout the film, but I kind of get it because, you know, you got to try and fit everyone else in, which is completely understandable. But I did like at the end where he's kind of helping Batman whilst Batman's trying to defeat Doomsday, meeting up with Superman and Wonder Woman. And he's just sitting in the Batcave getting drunk. Now that is an Alfred. Okay, so that topic is pretty much done and taken care of. No problem with Batman killing, like this incarnation of Batman. Secondly, the nightmare scene that involves Darkseid and the Parademons. I was expecting a really big build up to this scene, and it just happens. Like, we see, you know, Nightmare Batfleck coming out of the bunker, and it's just apocalyptic. We see the Darkseid Omega symbol, and then right at the end, after this scene, we see the Flash in the Batcave, and he's trying to warn Bruce, I think, from what my understanding is, because he's ripped through the space-time continuum, he can go to alternate realities, and I think he's trying to show Bruce what would happen if Darkseid took over. Now, I also had a thought, what if Batman is now working for Darkseid, but then I quickly dismissed that, because with that one epic, amazing shot, how he's taking out all the Superman soldiers, right at the end, a Parademon comes out and knocks him out. So obviously that dismisses the whole working for Darkseid thing. I think the Flash is just trying to warn Bruce. This is what could happen if Darkseid takes over, and I think Batman's just trying to avoid him. He's on the run from him in this apocalyptic world of either Gotham, Metropolis, or the whole world in general. So that was pretty cool, and I did like the look of the Flash. He's got like a helmet that like folds up. The first time I saw the movie, I had no idea what he was saying. I wasn't paying attention. I was just looking at the costume and trying to dissect it and just like, whoa. And then when he like flicked away, I was like, whoa. What did he say? So yesterday I listened to every word he had to say. He said Lois is the key, which is quite interesting. I'm still trying to figure that one out. My buddy is still trying to figure that one out, who I went and saw the movie with yesterday. Nonetheless, it was pretty cool. And people are like, it's probably just a dream. He passed out and he just had a dream. But when he does wake up, the papers around his desk in the Batcave are, you know, still flickering about, so it did happen. Another controversial topic that everyone is raging about is the reveal of the Justice League and how it was shoehorned into the film, and to be honest, I totally agree. I get where you guys are coming from in that respect. It did feel a little forced. Nonetheless, it was really cool to see, you know, the Flash, Cyborg, and Aquaman. Maybe they could have just showed one of the three and just left the symbols as is, so it leaves you guessing, oh, what else could they be doing in that surveillance footage? Jason Momoa just looks like the definitive Aquaman. Like, first off, he's Hawaiian, so he's born to play Aquaman. Secondly, how he's just like floating around with a trident and then just stabs the diver and does like a sonic boom out of the water. That was just brilliant. But with Cyborg and Flash, that did feel a little bit, you know, forced, especially the Cyborg one with the typical, you know, vlog diary thing, the scientist trying to work on someone, in this case his son. But I totally get where people are coming from in terms of that being shoehorned into the film, but you gotta realize this is Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. This film has to ultimately set up these characters so we can get down to business for the next couple of films. Okay, next up, the actual fight between Batman and Superman, and I totally got the reason why they fought. I thought it was pretty well done. I thought it would be a really stupid reason in the end, but overall it made sense. You know, Batman is hating on Superman for the actions that happened in Man of Steel, back in Metropolis. You know, Bruce Wayne's tower collapsed and ultimately he lost a lot of his staff and friends. Superman, on the other hand, doesn't want to fight, but he kinda has to, because obviously Lex has Mark Kent. And you see that when he first faces Batman, he's like, Bruce, you don't understand. I don't want to do this. And Bruce, just being old and having the shits, just does not care, will not reason with him, just wants to take him out. Because Bruce just feels that Superman could flick the switch at any minute and just be like, fuck it, I'm gonna wipe out all of humanity. It gave both Titans a reason to clash. It didn't feel like it was one-sided. These guys had to do what they had to do. The fight itself was brilliant. It was well choreographed. It was well shot. I don't know if you guys felt the same, but when Superman was reduced to being weak because of the kryptonite grenades and Batman is just flogging the shit out of him, I felt really sorry for him. Because like I said, he does not want to fight, but he has to. He's got no choice. And one of the most brutal and sad things in that fight is when Batman gets the basin and slams it down on Superman's head. I was like, Supes. And when he picks him up by his hair and like breaks his back over his shoulder to throw him down the stairs, like, that is harsh, man. He really wants this guy dead. And I mentioned in my spoiler-free review that there was a scene between Batman and Superman that brought a tear to my eye, and I'm guessing it brought a lot of tears to people's eyes, is when Superman says, save Martha, and Batman's like, why did you say that name? And I was like, shit, I didn't even put those two together, Martha Wayne and Martha Kent. And to me, it was just really cool. There was humanity behind that cow. And he kind of puts up this wall and this facade, but when it comes down to it, he is still deeply scarred, he's still deeply emotional. And yeah, I thought that was a really nice touch. But in terms of the fight, I thought the fight was great. I wish it had been longer. Instead it was just like, okay, bang, now we're friends. Like I said, totally get it. We got a lot to fit in this movie and a lot to explain, so yeah, at least they fought. Now, there was something that I mentioned in my spoiler-free review that happened at the end of this film that I wasn't really a fan of, and it also happened at the end of Man of Steel, and it was actually a big topic of controversy, and that was the fact just so much destruction goes on, it was almost overkill. You pretty much saw half of Metropolis get flattened in Man of Steel. We then see a big chunk of Gotham get flattened. However, I will give Chris Terrio and David Goyer credit because they explain why. When Batman gets Doomsday to chase him back to Gotham in the docks area, he pulls up, Wonder Woman's like, why did you bring him back to the city? And Batman's like, because this area is abandoned. I'll give you that one, Terrio and Goyer. So yeah, I guess they kind of covered their asses in that respect, but again, like when Doomsday like arcs up and does a big atomic boom and just everything gets wiped out, buildings are blowing up, it's the same thing from Man of Steel. It's just not really necessary. Now, this is only going to be a very quick topic, the death of Superman. As soon as that happened, I knew, okay, he's going to come back to life, but we're going to see, you know, that typical shot at the end of the film, if it's the coffin or his body. We're either going to see a heartbeat or whatnot through the suit or hear a heartbeat, but we did hear like a slight heartbeat in the coffin. You see the dirt starts to rise and it cuts to the credits. Plus also the fact that Henry Cavill posted this photo of him training for the Justice League. And you can't have a Justice League without Superman. That's just sacrilege. Don't get me wrong, during the funeral scenes I started to tear up, especially when bagpipes play. I'm a sucker for bagpipes. They're just so depressing and sad. Okay, my final spoiler topic for this video is that amazing and just terrifying scene of Lex Luthor in jail, and Batman threatens him and interrogates him. That beautiful shot where the lights flicker out and they flicker back on, and there's Batman, and he's just lit just like a demon, just reminded me of the interrogation scene in The Dark Knight. Lex turns around and Batman lunges at him with the branding. I thought at first Batman was branding him whilst he's talking to him, and Lex is just copying it, but he was just like hovering it above his shoulder. Then Batman slams the wall and pisses off, and the lights come back on. Now obviously we've got to talk about what Lex is meaning by the signal's been sent, he's aware, he's on his way, you know, in the darkness amongst the stars. I think he's talking about Brainiac. Obviously Superman's planet Krypton is no more, so that's what he means by amongst the stars in the darkness, and it makes sense because it could be setting up the Anti-Justice League, which Brainiac is a part of. I don't know, that's one thing I want you guys to comment on. What did you think with that scene in particular? What do you think Lex is talking about? Who do you think Lex is talking about? So guys, that's pretty much it in terms of my spoiler discussion. There is so much more I could talk about, but those are the main topics that I wanted to touch on. I still stand by my 5 geeks out of 5, guys. I know people don't agree with that, but you've got to realize everyone has their own opinions. I had an amazing time with this film. The second time around was just as much, if not more enjoyable. I really want to see more of Ben Affleck's Batman. I want to see more of Henry Cavill's Superman, and obviously Gal Gadot, because she was just amazing in the film. She stole the third act of this film. So thanks very much for watching, guys. Once you have seen Batman v Superman, please drop a comment below and let me know your thoughts on the spoiler discussion in this film, especially what Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor is saying at the end with Batman in that jail cell. Who do you think he is talking about? As always, thank you very much for your continuing support and watching, and until next time, geeks, please always remember, cosplayers do it best.